Hi, I'm Sean from dishonorablespeechandpolitics.com, and I don't get the impression that a lot of people talk about or hear much about speaking honorably these days. I recently started using the hashtag honorable speech on my Twitter account, and I could only find 2 instances of it ever being used on Twitter before that. I also did a Google Scholar search for civil discourse, which I think is more commonly talked about, and it came up with about 2.7 million results, while a search for honorable speech came up with about 0.2 million, or about 14 times fewer results. For this reason, I believe there are likely some misconceptions about what honorable speaking is and isn't, and why it matters. So I came up with 7 possible misconceptions people may have about speaking honorably, and here they are. Number 1, speaking honorably is from a past era of medieval knights. It's not relevant today. The way I define honorable speaking is speaking in a way that supports love or value building over hate or value destruction. So I'd say that if you think love and hate are relevant today, then so is speaking honorably. Number 2, it's not that big of a deal. Again, if we go back to my definition, do you think it's not a big deal to support love over hate? Would you think it's not a big deal if you or someone you loved was a subject of dishonorable speech that had real negative consequences on your or their lives, such as loss of jobs or freedom? Would you think it's not a big deal if you saw how dishonorable speech could contribute to real-life violence, such as mass shootings and war? Number 3, it's boring. Where's the fun if there's no drama? It's true that speaking honorably, that is, without name-calling, insults, and other dishonorable speech, is likely to seem less dramatic. That doesn't mean it's boring. I believe that you control whether it's boring for you or not, and that if you want to choose to make it a fun game to always speak honorably, or determine for yourself if others are speaking honorably, you could do that. Number 4, it's devoid of humor. Speaking honorably can include plenty of jokes and humor as long as they're appropriate to the situation and not funny in a mean-spirited way. I'm working on a video on the dishonor in certain kinds of jokes and humor, and I'll get into it more there, but for now I'll say that if you stick with dad jokes, you're probably pretty safe. Yeah, like I said, Sean, it's devoid of humor. Okay, don't be hating on the dad jokes, okay? Number 5, it's speaking in a way that nobody gets upset about, or at least the vast majority of people don't get upset about. We can't control if people are going to get upset or not by what we say. While I think audience reaction is a consideration in speaking honorably, there may be situations in which a lot of people get upset when someone speaks honorably, such as when defending the constitutional rights to a fair trial of someone who has very likely done terrible things. Number 6, speaking honorably is never saying anything negative. Speaking honorably doesn't mean always sugarcoating things. By my definition, speaking honorably involves supporting love, and this sometimes requires drawing attention to negative things. One example might be when someone does something destructive and you compassionately try to call their attention to the destruction, encourage them to fix it if possible, and help them choose a better path in the future. For more on this, check out my blog post and video on 4 situations in which it may be honorable to say negative things. Number 7, it's too much work. It may seem like a lot of work at first to speak more honorably, to think before you speak, choose your words carefully, and not say some of the dishonorable things that you so want to say, but it should generally become easier with practice, and it's really only too much work if you don't think it's a big enough deal to justify the effort. Is supporting love too much work? I hope this video helped clear up or at least address some possible misconceptions about honorable speech that you or others may have. What it is and what it isn't. To me, it is relevant these days, it is a big deal, it's not boring or devoid of humor or speaking in a way in which no one gets upset. It can involve saying negative things, and I don't believe it's too much work, especially not to support love over hate. Thanks for watching.